Hey, what's up guys? Nick Quintero here, and today I'm going to show you how to interpret client inspiration images without just ripping off somebody else's work. All right, let's go. Before I start working on a project with somebody, especially somebody new, I like to ask them a lot of questions. One of the questions that I ask is if they can send me things that they like or things that kind of look similar to what they want in the end for their product. So a lot of times they'll pull a few images. Most of the time they'll pull more than 3, but I kind of just pulled these myself as an example for this quick tutorial. Basically, the first thing that you want to do is kind of figure out what all of the images have in common, like to really figure out maybe what it is the client likes about them and have a conversation with them about that. So when I look at these images here, I see, text, I see hand-drawn text, and I see curved text. So that would be the first thing that I would point out and ask, like, are you guys looking for hand-drawn text? Do you want curved text? Like, what is it exactly about these things that you like? And, they'll usually come back and say, yeah, I like how this one is arched here, and I like how it looks hand-drawn, but I like this layout because we don't have as many words, and we definitely want to include mountains, so that's why we did this, and we love how this one is in a frame. They'll have some sort of things like that to let you know these are exactly the things that we want to include in our design. But obviously, we're not going to just rip these off. Like, this is a look and a feel. And that's kind of a hard thing to get used to whenever you're starting out, especially if you're a designer with a style, because a lot of times you just want to, or are hired to just do your style. But even if you have a style, a lot of clients are going to come back and change a lot of stuff about what you did. And it's super frustrating. And I think I'm going to make a whole video about, being a working graphic designer versus being like an artist with a style. Let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in seeing something like that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on a quick little sketch. Now, I don't always do pencil and paper or even iPad sketches. A lot of times I will just jump straight into Illustrator, but definitely if you are a, hand-drawn pencil and paper kind of person, feel free to do your thumbnails and sketches in that. You don't even always have to have thumbnails, especially if you're using fonts or, icons and things that you already have or logos that somebody sent you to use. It's really up to you and what you're comfortable with. I'm just a straight to Illustrator type of person. So I think that based on these 3 images, I do want to use a frame, like I said. So I'm going to go ahead and make a circle and bump up the stroke there a little bit. And I'm actually going to go ahead and expand this just for my own ease of use going forward. So I think I definitely want to create some arched text up here. Whoa. Let's make sure I can see what I'm drawing. So I definitely want to do some arched text up top and probably some smaller arched text on bottom. And let's go ahead and change colors so that my sketches here don't merge with my circle that I've already drawn. So I kind of like how this one kind of goes up. So I think I'm probably going to do some sort of mountain range sketch thing this way. So there will be some definite shapes here that will play into this inside shape here. Turn that a little bit because I kind of like that. And then you notice all 3 of these have a sun. So that would definitely be something that I would interpret as important to the client. So I'll also include a little bit of sun here, move it to the back so we can see where it will land. And I think that's pretty good. They're all pretty much off to the side. So just going to make my own version of that. Now we've got a little bit of different elements now because this one has only the mountains and sun. This one has mountains, sun, clouds, and trees, and even a little bit of grass or something like that. And this one is a cactus, a skull, mountain, and sun. So this is where you kind of have to decide what works for the client. Like if they are trying to build a brand that is like positive and happy, you probably don't want to include something like the skull. But if they're doing something that's kind of, ultra deserty, or, have a clever name, and maybe it's like a coffee brand or something, and it's, death before decaf or something, then maybe you would include something like a cow skull or even a person skull. So this is the part where you kind of have to, figure out what works. So let's just go ahead and go for what I said, death before decaf coffee brand. So I think a cactus and a skull are probably two good elements, but I'm not going to do the cow skull, and I'm not going to do a saguaro cactus either. So let's go ahead and maybe draw in a little bit of like a horizon line in this thing here. And let's draw in space where there will be like a little skull. And then let's move it over a little. So skull and some cactus. Now, these are my really, really rough sketches, but whatever works. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut out some of this sun and make our background elements all the same color. You know what? Let's go ahead and turn that into an outline, because I feel like an outline will help with the sketch look of this. And let's even make this a light gray so we can see what we're doing. All right, so now this is going to be the base sketch for our interpretation here. All right. There's a more like thicker illustration line here, and it's a little thinner here, and kind of more like varying weights. So I think I'm gonna kind of go in between with what I sketch here, or I guess illustrate now. Whoa, what just happened? I selected all my colors. Okay, I'm gonna go back to red. I'm gonna increase my brush size here, and I'm going to draw in a little bit of a skull. I don't always know if I'm going to do like a realistic skull or kind of a tattoo skull until I'm already doing it. But yeah, I'm just gonna draw here and see what happens. I am also adjusting the weight of my brush here as I go, because I like those varying weights of that cow skull one, but I also like doing some non-realistic skull drawings. So I'm gonna kind of just play with it so it doesn't look super like tattoo-ish. I don't know. I just want it to look illustrated, look rough around the edges, but also look really good. Okay, I'm actually going to tilt that a little bit so that I can make this skull shape kind of sit on the ground slightly. Like this. So even though we have our horizon line here, I'm going to make a little bit of a shadow for where it's actually sitting on the ground. Maybe even a little bit of like dirt and rocks coming off of it. Just to give us some more some more like depth to what we're doing. All right, I'm gonna group all of that red together. All right, so I think I'm going to blow the size of this up, but I'm gonna wait a little bit until I have some cactus drawn. So that way my line width stays similar since I'm using this same settings on my blob brush here. Now, if any of you guys follow me on Instagram at NickQ, you'll probably recognize this like drawing style on these cactus because I've done it before and it's really quick and simple. And I try really hard not to overthink it when I draw cactus because it can be really hard to like want to make these things look, you know, like perfect. But at the end of the day, every time I've tried to do that, it actually made the drawing look worse and look nothing like any of the cactus that I have growing outside of my house here in Texas. All right, so I like that as my cactus base. But I am gonna come in here and curve some of these corners. All right, my line widths did not stay very similar, so I am going to just blow up this skull by itself because the cactus is already a little thicker and now it's starting to match a little better. All right, got just a little bit of overlap here, but I think what I'm going to do is use my Pathfinder and click on the merge here and then use my magic wand to deselect the red part, the drawing. And then you can see that the empty paths have been selected and I am going to fill them with white and then use Command Shift right bracket to bump the skull all the way up to the foreground and then kind of drag the cactus parts behind it. All right, now I'm going to center it a little bit and go ahead and magic wand all the red and turn it black so that it blends in with my fancy circle there. All right, so now let's get red again because I do want to draw my horizon line back in. So that will actually stay as part of the graphic. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start drawing in some of these mountain pieces and kind of just going for it because it's so far in the background, you aren't really going to see much of it. And what you do see is probably not going to be that prevalent. I'm using my Cintiq 16 to get a little bit of variation in the pressure on these lines that I'm drawing for this mountain piece. All right, I honestly think that looks pretty good. I'm going to use the magic wand, select the red, group it, and move it back behind. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go back to this cactus, do the merge filter thing so that I can use white to cover up where these things are intersecting. Make those mountains black. Now, it's looking a lot more similar to this illustration here. And I think that's a good thing because, you know, I think this is a particular style that works really well with this hand-drawn text, but I think it's so specific that it will look copied very easily if we do more things related to this, where I do think that here we've got more room to play and make it look and feel more original. All right, so I'm just gonna draw a solid color here for the sun. And I'm gonna go ahead and delete all of these sketchy pieces that we have for this here. All right, so let's do what I did earlier because it's a quick and easy way to delete the bottom part of the sun. Just use the eraser tool and knock it out. All right, so now I'm gonna group all of these pieces and make sure that they are center on my canvas. And the way you do that is when you select something and you have it as a group, you can actually see these alignment tools come up. And so I'll use, and actually there's this little menu here that you can click on to align it to your section or the artboard. I usually keep mine as aligned to artboard, so that way I can quickly grab something and click the center and center, and there we go. So the reason I'm doing this is because I'm gonna draw another circle, center both of those there, and then I'm going to use my type tool, and I'm gonna hold Option and click on the bottom. Now the bottom is super important for what I'm about to do, because now when I start typing, basically you'll see that it starts where I clicked. But this way, when you have this selected, you can go to your type options, click Align Center, and you'll see that it shoots up to the top. So now I go to my type menu, type on path options, and I change my align to path to the center, and you'll see it bump down right here. So now you get better control, and you'll see that you'll get better control whenever you flip it for the other side. So let's go ahead and say, what did I say? Death before decaf, which is a horribly basic name, but it'll work for this. So now what I'm gonna do is copy this type on path here and press Command F to paste in place. I'm going to tap the R key to select my rotate tool. The center is already gonna be aligned to the dead center of the circle. So when I spin it, it just curves around that way. And if you hold Shift, it'll take you and snap right down to the bottom center. Now with that new one selected, you go back to your type on path options and click flip. And you will see now you have these nice two curved text paths. All right, I'm just gonna actually select both of these, and in my fonts, I'm just gonna choose my font, Texicali. It's one of my custom fonts that I make and sell on my website, nickqart.com, and go ahead and spread that out, and boom. So now, obviously, you want to work with your client and get the fonts and the right type and text treatments that they want, and make this perfect for them. But for this example, it is just some art that I drew and a company that I made up, and I think it looks really, really great. So you can see, it does look pretty similar to this one, but it's also very different since it's its own thing. I mean, it has the frame and really kind of shows what the client would be asking for, or your illustration, your project, your drawings. They should be very specific to the project, to the client, so they won't necessarily tie back to this or look like this, even when you're comparing the two side by side. Like, it looks like a style, it looks like a mixture of these things, plus all of the other designs and art out in the world that look similar to these things. It's not extremely unique. You're not ripping off an artist's style by doing this. You're just using the inspiration that the client gave you so that you can get the closest possible to the artwork that they are paying you for. I do think it would be a cool little addition to maybe turn this skull into a coffee cup or a coffee mug. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the illustration a little bit. Go ahead and outline these fonts so that all of this is here together. All right, and that's it. Then we would just mock it up on a t-shirt and send it off to the client for approval. All right, that's all it takes. If you guys have any questions or anything involving this project, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this design, how it turned out, or if you would have done something different. All right, I really appreciate you guys checking out this video. I appreciate all of the support. I appreciate your patience, especially because I've been out sick and it's been a while since I made a video. So I really, really want to thank you guys for sticking around, checking this out, and welcome all the new subscribers that I got in the last couple of months. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if this is your first time checking out the videos. Hit that little bell so that way you can be notified when I post the new video. And make sure to give this video a thumbs up so that way it can help other people find the video and be able to watch it. I said video way too many times. So on that note, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys on the next one.